All right, we should be live on YouTube. So welcome everybody that's on YouTube. Everybody that's on Zoom. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. How was everybody's holidays? Everybody in the YouTube chat, y'all could just comment, and then on Zoom, y'all could talk.
Everything was good. How about you?
Everything was smooth sailing. Definitely enjoyed, the family, um, all of that good stuff, right? Just enjoying myself, taking a week off for the most part, and it's been pretty smooth.
Yeah. You got plans for the New Year or New Year's Eve?
Just doing some things with my girlfriend, and then I probably go like to church. Nothing
Oh,
too
that's
major. Yeah, got to start the new year off right, of course.
oh
Um,
shit.
Anybody that's doing anything on New Year's, definitely make sure that y'all are being safe. Everybody, of course, like on New Year's, it's always one of those things where it's just a little bit more risk. And me personally, I hate doing the risk like on big holidays and stuff like that. I'm one of those people like I'd rather be in the house or be somewhere and I feel it's safe. So anybody that's out there on New Year's, definitely be safe and enjoy yourselves. But speaking of New Year's, of course, we are going into a brand new year, 2025, and I'm super excited for all of the things to come in this year. And then one thing, like we talked about, is I think we talked about this last week, is making sure that y'all reflecting on the previous year that y'all had, so 2024, making sure that y'all reflect on that, and also set some goals and set some expectations for the new year. And that way, when you go into 2025, you already know what the game plan is, know what to execute, know who it is that you want to be, who it is that you want to become in this new 2025 year. So I'm super excited for 2025. Like I said, I got a lot of things in store for y'all. And then, of course, we're going to continue these live streams going into 2025. And then I'm trying to figure out a way that we can make these a little bit better. I don't know if it's, incorporating another stream in the mornings or so forth and so on. Something I'm thinking about, but we'll cross that bridge once we get there. But of course, anybody that's new, welcome to the live stream. This is Let's Charge Sundays. So pretty much we go over the 5 pairs that we've been going over for the last few weeks, which are gold, US 30, NAS, GBP JPY, and GBP USD. I'm thinking about, of course, 2025 cutting off GBP USD because, like I tell y'all every stream, I really don't like GBP USD, just a price action, but that's just my personal opinion. But like I said, those are the 5 pairs that we currently analyze inside the market. If you are brand new, my name is Mike Lito, and I have been trading for. Can y'all meet y'all mics? I've been trading for 5+ years, and I have been documenting my journey on YouTube for the last 3.5, 4+ years, right? So if you are new, just go through all of my videos. You can go through all the live streams. You can start from the beginning video. You can do all of that and just look at my journey from where I started into where I am now. So with that being said, let's dive into the charts so we can see. And let me move my face off the screen before y'all grill me in the comment section again. So we can see we were here last week. So last week we had this analyzation that if we broke above this trend line and retested, we would look to carry to this negative 27 TP. So there's a few things that I want to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about the trade that, if y'all watched the video, the trade on Christmas. And then also want to talk about the comments, not the comments, but the giveaway, because there was a lot of people like going crazy talking about, well, not going crazy talking about, but going crazy in the comment section. And y'all was like, I don't know how y'all did it so fast, but literally this is how, like, when I did it, I was like, damn, like, I don't know how these people did this fast. But literally I posted the video, and within 1 minute, like literally 1 minute, I was already getting comments of the keyword. And I'm like, there's no way that like people could have watched the whole video that fast because the video was 30 minutes. And I got some people to say, well, I watched it on 2 times speed. Even if you watched it on 2 times speed, you still wouldn't be able to finish it for 15 minutes. So the giveaway, I have to come up with the solution. I'm thinking about just doing like taking the first few people that commented and then just doing a raffle, like just a random raffle between those people that first commented, because it was one of those things where like y'all commented too fast, and the thing that I said was y'all have to watch the entire video. I got some messages from some people saying, well, I watched the entire video, I just watched it on 2 times speed, but you know, there was no way for me to actually verify that. But that's why I said, like, at this point I'll probably just do a raffle based off of the first few people that commented it. That way it still could be fair to the people that actually watched the video in regards to the people that commented first, right? So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but let's go over gold like I was mentioning. So here, we were here last week and I said if we break and retest, we were going to come to this negative 27. I said to watch price at this negative 27 TP, because not only was it a negative 27 TP, this was a 38.2 retracement on our fib level. So we was already expecting for price to come here and then potentially have a rejection at that area. And you can see we had that rejection at this area. Literally, like if you would have been paying attention. Share your screen? Oh shit, my fault. Hold on. If you were paying attention to, like, if you had an alert hit set here at this 38.2, then you would have been able to pretty much catch a snipe, because this came here and literally tapped at 38.2 and fell 217 pips. So that was a sniper entry from the area that we talked about last Sunday. Now, in regards to the video here, like I was explaining on my Instagram post, we had this this break and retest of this level of support here. So this is where I took the initial entry here after breaking beneath this level of support, right? This line minor level of support here. Now, this is one of those things where you always want to trade what you see and what the market is telling you versus just anticipating for a price to go in your intended direction. So for me, I was anticipating, okay, we had a retracement. We only hit, like, we at the current time we were only at a 23.6. We didn't really even retrace to this 38.2 yet. So that's one area where I went wrong, because I was already anticipating for it to pull back to 38.2. But since it did this little minor break and retest here, I was like, okay, well, we might not make it to the negative 27 or the 38.2. So this just must be our continuation. So from here, on my actual chart, I had this trend line here, and I didn't take the profits here. That was just a mistake. I had a lot of stuff going on, just trying to, you know, Christmas shop, do all that stuff last minute, and I wasn't really like watching the charts. It was one of those things where I placed a trade, and then I really just stepped away from it, just had alerts, and that was pretty much it, right? So from here, we had this bounce off of this trend line, but like I said, I could have took profit, was up about 65, 67 pips inside of this move. Of course, I could have taken profit, but like I was mentioning before, my overall targets were at least to come down to this next level of support here, and then our overall target is still this negative 27. So I was anticipating for price to come here first and then break and retest like we talked about last week, and then potentially come to this negative 27. So it was just one of those trades where I anticipated the move too much and didn't just take what the market gives. So learn from my mistakes. I want y'all to understand, like, things like that do happen inside of the market, especially when you're not paying close attention to it. So definitely, like I said, learn from my mistakes and understand that those type of mistakes are just, it's not like a lack of strategy, or it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, I need to, you know, I need to learn a new strategy. New strategy don't work. Like, it's one of those things where sometimes, like, the market just isn't ready. And in this case, the market just wasn't ready. I still anticipate this move to happen, but it's just one of those things where, like I said, it wasn't ready, and I wasn't fully managing the trade the way that I could have. So it's one of those mental mistakes inside of the market versus actually like a technical base, right? So currently where we are at now, this is what I was pretty much talking about on Friday inside the blueprint. inside the Blueprint Academy. We just had this negative 27 TP hit, so we already understood that. We just talked about that, and we hit this 38.2. So I'm going to delete this fib so that it is not in the way, and I'm going to delete this stuff so it's a little bit cleaner, right? So from here, we hit this 38.2, and then we had this break of this trend line here, and then we also had a break of these little lows right here, right? So now currently where we are at, I'm looking for price to come back into this trend line here, and then I have an alert set on this trend line on my actual chart, and then I'm going to be looking to see if we get those bearish price action signals. If we get those bearish price action signals, I'll be looking for a sell down. Now, of course, the very first take profit level that you'll be looking for is this level of support, and then of course if we throw a minor structure fib on there from point A to point B, our second targets would be negative 27 and or our negative 61.8, just depending on if we have a blue zone retracement or a green zone retracement. So that is what I'm overall looking for. But of course, like I tell y'all, week in and week out, we always react to the market and we don't try to predict it. So if this comes up here and it pushes through this trend line aggressively, then we're not looking to place that trade. So what I mean by that is, if I have some bullish candles, so my bullish candles on the screen are blue, so I'm going to use blue boxes, right? So if we get up here and we still have a lot of bullish momentum, we won't look to take that trade there because it will still be a lot of bullish momentum. But if we get there and then we start to get some rejections, like with some wick exhaustion, and then we start to get some like bearish price action signals, in this case my bearish candle is black. So if we get something like that there at that trend line, then we know, okay, price is actually retesting that trend line and we could look for our shorts. But like I said, if price just continues to push through this trend line, then we're not looking for overall sales. So I'm going to put this note here, watch price here, and then I'll be looking for this overall trend line to get retested. Currently we only a few pips away from this trend line, about 30 pips away before we actually tap it. And then like I said, I'll be looking for that price action to solidify that move. So if I had a ghost pattern, it will look like such. We will come up there and retest, and then we will fall something like this. So this is the move that I'm looking for. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen right now. Of course, this could, you know, start to happen during London session, or even going into New York tomorrow. But it's just one of those things where this is the type of move that I'll be looking for. However, if we do not get that and we just push through that trend line, then if we break above and retest the highs and invalidate this fib, then I'll be looking for new buy opportunities once we break and retest. So that is the overall scenarios that we can potentially have inside of the market to start this new week. Now, only thing is we do have New Year's coming up. So of course New Year's is on New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve is on the 31st, and then actual New Year's is on Wednesday. So we might see, let's see if the banks are closed. So yeah, bank holiday on Tuesday and Wednesday. So it's just like how it was on Christmas. It probably will be a lot of consolidation, either leading up to those holidays or right after those. I mean, like right on those holidays. So it's just one of those things where you just got to make sure that if you trade in those days, to be mindful of those overall holidays, right? So like I said, this is my analysis on gold. I'll definitely be on the lookout for this trend line breaking retest to start the week. This looks really good. And then on the higher time frames as well, we look good also. So just for those that want to see the main bias, because of course we always start on our higher time frames. Our weekly, we just pretty much this is really just indicating that we're consolidating with these candles. They're not really going nowhere. the daily, we can see we had a lot of bearish pressure, pull back, bearish pressure, pull back, bearish pressure. Now we have a pullback. So we can expect that bearish pressure to continue. And then 4 hour, this is an impulse. This is a correction. We'll be looking for that continuation. 1 hour, pretty much the same concept. So overall, that is what I'm looking for. And this is the main structure fib that I was mentioning before. This impulse, this correction, 38.2. Overall, I can see gold definitely falling to 25.47-ish area as long as we get that validity once we break beneath this level of support, if we break beneath that level of support. But overall, like I said, this definitely looks good. I'm definitely looking for shorts on gold to start the overall week. Does that make sense to everybody inside of the YouTube chat? Let me check the comments. Can you make the ghost pattern darker? Yeah, I got you. Let's see. Let's go here. That way y'all can see it a little bit better. Have you already analyzed GJ? No, this is the first pair that I analyzed on gold. Gold was the first pair. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Anybody have any questions on anybody have any questions on gold before I move on? Do you trade NQ NAS? Yeah, I mean, yeah, NQ is NAS. So yeah, I trade NAS sometimes, but primarily I trade gold. Gold is my favorite pair. I watched your video. I did not see you lose because I didn't show the loss on there. I was filming a Christmas video. How did you lose 3,000? I just showed you how I lost. I just broke it down. This was the trade right here. And if you want to see the complete breakdown, it's on my YouTube. I mean, not my YouTube, my Instagram reel. Actually, it's on my YouTube shorts as well. But all right, so my cool question: to make sure that we are in transition structure, it would be safe to wait for the break of the last higher low. Yes, absolutely. So if you want to be completely safe, then yeah, this last higher low point right here, based off of this structure here. So break, retest underneath there to sell it down there. But the only thing is, what I was looking at as well is this little minor, like baby structure here. And this higher low point got broken here. So that last higher low point retesting currently. And then we look for that drop. Can you mark up NAS? Yeah, I'm gonna go mark up NAS. I haven't got to it yet. Do you go over GU every Sunday? Yes, I have. I have been for the last, I would say 8 weeks. Check the settings I stated with the XAU USD futures chart. Okay, I'll take a look at it. Do you swing trade or intraday? What is more preferable? I like to intraday. I'm not one of those people. I don't like to hold trades for multiple days at a time. That's just me. I'm more of a the most I hold a trade is for like a day. I don't really like to hold trades for more than like a full 24 hours. Like if I let's just say hypothetically, I was in this gold, let's just say I took a gold short and then I was holding a trade until tomorrow. That's like an intraday trade to me because it's still like within a day. Now it's 6 p.m. Central Time right now, but if the move don't play out till 6 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, then that's just one of those things where it took that long to play out. But I'm not one of those people where I'm going to hold the move all week. That's just my personal preference. I like to get in and get out when I can, because even like how I was just talking about the trade that we lost on Christmas was an intraday trade where I could have, if I was a real super scalper, I could have backed 67 pips and been out of the move like super quick. But me, like, especially on gold, 67 pips really isn't anything. That's like barely a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So I'm one of those people where any trade I take on gold really like is like 75 plus to 100 pips. One of those things where like I catch actually moves. And that's another thing. Like some people don't understand when you can catch the full move. Like when you can catch a move, like some people scalp and they catch like 10, 20 pips, which is like, you know, that's completely fine if it works for them. But like when you actually catch full moves inside the market or catch decent side moves, that's how you know like you really got that skill. You know like what price is doing. You completely understand it. You know what's going on inside of the charts. So it's not one of those things where like, oh, I close my trades prematurely because I'm like fearful. It's like I hold on to my trades because I have my bias or I have understanding on where the market is about to head next. Sometimes that gets me the minor and the overall structure. You just break down the major structure first. Like when you think about it in hindsight, like think about it like this. If you got this as major structure, then it's going to be little moves inside of it that you can break down. That's a part of it. So like you can break each one of these down into smaller moves. So like it's minor structure, but you got to understand the major structure first before you break down the minor structure. If you just start at the minor structure, then it's going to be hard to comprehend. But you got to go structure time frame by time frame. You start with the daily, you drop down to the 4 hour, you drop down to the 1 hour, you drop down to the 30 minutes, so forth and so on, structure by structure. Hey bro, we just eager. We got access to a real go right now. I'm screaming. I appreciate that though. Hey Mike, where would you place your stop loss? You would place your stop loss above the previous high point. So like if we looking at this, if we not in this trade right now, so we can't really say like exactly where we place the stop loss, but hypothetically, if we were to enter right here, then our stop loss will go above this previous lower high point, or the safest one will be above this lower high point, because this, if it breaks above this is completely invalidating the move. Now the only time, like if I was actually swinging for the full take profit of the full negative 27 down here, then this stop loss up here will make a lot more sense because the risk to reward will still be there. But if I'm only swinging for this negative 27, then this one will be a little bit more better. It'll be a little better on the risk to reward side, because let's just say, and I'm not taking a trade here just for people that see like the short position tool. I don't want y'all to think that I'm actually taking a position, because I'm just using this for example purposes. But if we were to do this here and then we had our stop loss above here, then this will be a 2-to-1. But if we put it up here, then this will only be a 1-to-1. So it's one of those things where if you trade in a minor structure, then like I'm always open to having a smaller stop loss on the minor structure highs, because then it's like, okay, if I get stopped out, I could get another opportunity still within the minor structure, versus if I put it all the way up here, then the risk to reward is not that great and it just doesn't make sense. So that's how I will break down that stop loss if we were in that trade. But currently we are in that trade, so there's no exact place to put the stop loss. Now if we were to pull back, like let's just say we pull back to like here, then of course our stop loss will be above there, because that's the next high from that area. Hopefully that answers your question and makes sense. Let's see. Later on high sign. If you're watching the Christmas trade, how would you have reacted to price? So I would have like here, once you would have had this bullish variation type pattern here. So like this right here was a failed low. So this, once you see that price is failing to break the lows here, and you get this bullish candle sequence. So we got this 1 bullish candle, 2 bullish candle, 3 bullish candle, 4 bullish candle that closed above this previous bullish candle. This would have been the exit here to get out, right? So that would have been the exit, and then at that point it would have been just like a break-even trade, because like I was mentioning on the Instagram video, this is a 78.6, and then you had this bullish variation, which let me know, well, would have let you know that price was probably going to have a continuation of this uptrend, because we ended up breaking this little minor structure here with this high. So high, pull back, bullish variation, and then we had that continuation, and then this fib structure lined up where we was already looking for our targets to pull back to anyway. So that's just one of those things where it was just a little early entry, but that's just like a little minor tweak, minor mistake that definitely can be learned from. On average, what is the amount of pips you prefer to collect? On gold, easily like 100 plus pips. Like that's gold. That's like the average day in and day out movement. So like it, and that's one thing that I want people to understand as well, is that like when you trade in your pair, you gotta know what the average like pip movement is on a day-to-day basis, because of course I'm not gonna be able to get 100 plus pips from like a USD CAD or Euro USD on a day in and day out basis. That's not how USD CAD or Euro USD works all the time. So like understanding gold, I understand that that's like the around the average price movement in a day. So I could easily catch 100 pips in a day in and day out basis, because that's how gold moves, versus a forex pair that's a little bit less volatile. You might only catch 30 pips in a day. So it's just all about understanding that the price points or the price movement of your overall pair. Do you have a video breaking down risk management? No, not on YouTube. No. I probably can put a video out, because I know a lot of people ask about that. I'm more so trying to convert into a swing trader. Waiting is torture, but it's a good bag. Yeah, absolutely. It's just about trading the higher time frames and seeing things from a more broad standpoint. So definitely, if you feel like that's the route for you, I definitely encourage you to go for it. What key levels do you trade from? Just structure, major structure points, and trend lines. Thanks, Mike. You're welcome. But all right, so that is what I currently have on gold. That's the move that I'm overall looking for. And then let's move on to NAS. So we can see here our NAS analysis from last week played out beautiful. We can see here when we had this analysis on NAS, we were looking for price to pull back just a little bit and then push up to this zone. Now I was mentioning before, well not before, on last week's call, that we need to watch price here, because this was a level of resistance and we needed to see if price was going to come here and reject this area, or if it was going to break and retest to go up to this negative 27. So we can see here that we got this push up just exactly like how we talked about, like how we had this ghost pattern, and then we hit this negative 27. Once we hit this negative 27, we literally had a reversal to the downside. So this is just one of those ones where, like, if you caught it at the negative 27, then you definitely would have had another snipe down to end the week. This was one of those situations where price played out beautifully, like we talked about on a Sunday call, and it just played out beautiful from our Sunday call, right? So currently where we are at now, let's go to our higher time frames, and I'm going to remove these fibs and this stuff here so that we can see it clearly. On our weekly time frame, well, first let me see what this monthly candle. This monthly candle got 2 days left. We got some weak exhaustion. The weekly, a lot of weak exhaustion on both candles. The daily, now this daily is important because this candle closed a little bit beneath this previous bullish candle, so that's letting me know there's a lot of bearish pressure inside the market. But the only thing that concerns me is this huge wick. So there's definitely, like, time frame by time frame, you got to take note of those little context details. 4 hour, we can see we had this impulse push. We closed beneath these candles. So my students, you already know there's a variation pattern here, so I'm going to mark off that area. So we had this 4 hour bearish variation candlestick pattern here. So that's an interesting level that I'm definitely paying attention to. And then on, let me look at my structure though. So this is our 4-hour structure that we have here. And then our 1-hour structure is the structure inside of this. So currently, where we are at inside of this 1-hour structure, we got to be careful because we did have a break of this little downtrend structure, but we have not had a break of this last higher low point. So what I would like to see this week is I will definitely, for shorts for the remaining of the week, I would definitely want to see price break underneath this level of support and retest to confirm that we going lower. But for right now, the right now money, of course, and I'm going to remove this so it's not super spider webby. But for the right now money, I can definitely see price pulling back into this zone here, because just like how we talked about on gold, this is failing to break and make a new low. So here, it hasn't broken a new low and it had a bullish variation. So just like how when I was talking about on gold, and I said like there's certain like signals to let you know like, okay, it's failing to go further down. This is one of those cases. We had this push down, but then we had this bullish candle sequence to say that more than likely we're going to pull back up a little bit further before either we get that continuation or if this just continues up in this upwards direction. So right now, currently, the very first thing that I want to pay attention to is this level of resistance. And this is a minor structure zone here. That's why it's in purple. But this zone here, so we're going to watch price here. So for our ghost pattern, just like how it was like last week, I could definitely see something like this. And then once we watch price here, we need to see if it's going to reject to come down, or if we're going to break above this area, retest to continue to push up to this next level of resistance here. And then this little zone right here is also a little minor zone that you may or may not could see a rejection from. So that's one of those things where if it comes to this little level of resistance and it rejected, then that you still can get this overall push from that area. So that's overall what I'm looking for on NAS to start the week. Last week, NAS was super clean. The buy was pretty simple, but this week it's not as clear. And since we have a holiday in 2 days, or really on Tuesday, it's one of those things where if we see that consolidation, then we'll just wait till the New Year's to make any decisions or make any solid moves, right? So overall though, based off of this impulse, this correction, I'll definitely could see this pushing down, but remember that this is in a overall still huge uptrend. And then like you can see previous data, anytime it had like a little pullback, you would think it would drop down and then it just continue to go up. Think it would pull back and then it just continue to go up. Think it was going to continue to push down and it just continue to go up. So just be mindful of that. And then let me adjust this trend line real quick. As such, boom. Now like I said, if we break underneath here on retest, then we definitely coming down to these lows here, and that's definitely a good bag on that, right? So it's just one of those things where we gotta take it step by step. It's no rush. I know it's been kind of like a slow week for the last week and going into this week since it's been the holidays. But when you are a trader, one thing that's one of the most important things to understand is that you want to be patient and wait for the market to give you that signal to say like, I'm ready to go in the direction of your bias. Like, you don't want to play the guessing game. Right now, Nas ain't super clear right now, so it's kind of a guessing game. So I advise that you just kind of wait and sit on your hands until the market comes to you and gives you that clear indication. And then, of course, we can take advantage of the moves. But if it's not super clear, then it's one of those things where you sit back and wait. So, like, let me give y'all an analogy real quick. So when you think about it like this, when everybody was in school, everybody watching this call probably out of school right now, right? So when you were in school and it was the morning time, and you woke up and you looked outside your window and it was foggy as heck, right? Like, it was super foggy. And what happens when you have fog? You have like a 2 hour delay, or sometimes they cancel school. Why? Because you can't see. The visibility is not clear enough for the drivers of the school buses and the drivers, the parents to drive the kids to school. It's not clear enough for them to make their route onto the destination that they're going to. So same thing inside of the market. If it's foggy or if it's not super clear, you're going to have a 2 hour delay, which means that you have to wait, or you're going to cancel school and you're going to wait on the next day. So same thing here. Right now it's foggy and it's not super clear, so we got to wait. We have a delay right now. And if it doesn't clear up, then we just going to cancel the pair. We're not going to trade it because it's not clear right now. So just take that analogy and apply it to when you waiting on your setup inside the market and say, like, okay, it's not super clear right now. I'm going to wait until it does clear up. And then you had those scenarios where you had a 2 hour delay. The fall cleared up, and then what do? You went to school that day because you had a 2 hour delay, and the fall cleared up. Same thing in the market. If we get this to clear up and it gives us the data that we need to see, then more than definitely feel free to take advantage of that move. So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Anybody have any questions, definitely feel free to drop them inside of the YouTube comments. Nas, definitely, Mike. Also, you had that minor downtrend on lower highs under that top zone. Absolutely. So yeah, you got this little downtrend structure forming there. Love these breakdowns, always helpful. I'm glad that these can help you out. Definitely continue to tune in week and week out. Literally, let me show y'all something real quick, because hold on, I'm about to show y'all real quick. I gotta find it. Damn, I get so many dang DMs, bro. Where is it? Okay, this dude right here. He said, since I started, and I'm gonna show y'all real quick, just so y'all know, y'all can see it. He said, thank you, sir. Because he asked for the Telegram chat to my Telegram, right? He said, thank you. I started following your Sunday night calls. I have been very profitable, 100% win rate. Thank you, sir, for how you impacted my life. And he was from Kenya. So y'all can see if it'll focus. So if y'all write me on Instagram, I'm one of those people, like, I ain't gonna write back. But I just told him, keep grinding, especially people in the other countries that's not America, like third world countries and stuff. Like, they don't really have the resources and stuff that we have, and they still find a way to hop on these calls, still find a way to learn as much information that they can. A lot of them can't even really pay for courses and stuff like that, so they definitely take advantage of these calls. And he said that he's been profitable since he's been hopping on these these Sunday night calls. So I definitely advise everybody that's on here to even continue watching, or of course continue hopping on week in and week out, because you could definitely learn a lot of insight. But also go back and rewatch all of my previous live streams, like even all of my videos. Those definitely things that can help you along your journey, that will help put the pieces of the puzzle together. So shout out to them for definitely tuning in and using the information that I give out week in and week out for free inside of their trading journey, right? So let's go on and move to US 30. And would you look at that? Look, bro. This one was actually the cleanest one out of all of the pairs last week. And I definitely should have took advantage of this. But like I said, I really don't even trade US 30 like that no more. But I usually just focus on gold. But here, US 30, we can see this is what we talked about literally on the call. I wish I could just pull up the last call and talk about this, because we talked about on US 30, we had this brand new impulse. We had just broke this structure. I said wait for price to pull back into this purple zone here, and then we would look for buying opportunities, and we carry it up to this red level of support to watch price here. What happened? Look at this ghost pattern. We pull back into this zone here. Beautiful break, retest, and then we carried up right to this zone right here. And from that area, I'm pretty sure it was over 200 plus points. 670 points. If you paid attention to the analysis that we talked about on US 30 this week, you could have bagged the easiest 600 plus point move in your life just by tuning in to the call, right? Just by understanding the things that we talked about. Just how, like I was mentioning, the fog analogy where you wait. On Sunday, we was here. And I said, okay, we will have to wait for a pullback because we were in the middle of no man's land. Wait for price to pull back into this area, retest, and then watch price here. And what happened? We pulled back into this area, retested, and pushed up for 160 plus points, right? So currently where we are at inside of the market currently on US 30. Let's go to the weekly. Got a lot of bullish pressure. The daily, we failed to close beneath this daily candle, and we had a lot of wick exhaustion. That is an indication that price could potentially continue to push up for a deeper retracement than what we currently have right now, and that kind of goes hand in hand with that analysis that we had last week. So let me drag these zones over here as such. Then let's look at our 4-hour structure. So our 4-hour structure, we can see that we had this trend line here that got broken, and now it's getting retested. So I can definitely, this fib has not completed yet, so there is a chance that this pushes up to this negative 27 TP, or if that does not happen, the next probable thing that we could look for is a break and retest underneath this level of support for sales. So if we break underneath here, this is our validity to come down here. But I can foresee this definitely pushing back up to this red zone first. So what that'll look like is something like such. Something like this, where we have that pullback, and then we get that buy. Boom. So just like this. So break, retested this trend line, and push up. And this looks so dark, so let me just drop that down just a little bit. But if we, like I said, if we break underneath this support, retested, then we definitely sell it off to this area right here. So who you recommend? Hold on, let me read the comment section. Okay, you keep saying check the future chart. I'll check the future chart. Like you said it a whole bunch of times. I'll check it. Don't use Owanda, it's so freaking manipulated. Okay. So who you recommend no balls? What are you talking about? Hey man, I swear y'all be in this comment section. Y'all be saying some stuff and I really don't even know what the hell y'all be talking about, bro. Like y'all just be saying y'all be saying anything, like that dude last week that was just like flooding the chat just saying a whole bunch of stuff. No, you good, bro. But all right, so did anybody have any questions on US 30? Pretty self-explanatory. This looks like a decent buy, just like it was last week. And then, like I said, if we get that sell-off, break and retest this zone, then we look to sell it down there. Bro, you didn't say we got. I saw your I saw your messages the first time. Oh, I know what you talking about. The Terrell dude said, "So who you recommend, no boss?" He was talking about the the charts. But I'm about to put you on mute because you keep just saying there's a XAU USD one. I saw it the first time you posted it 15 minutes ago. But y'all taking away from the comment section. Every time I see the comment section move, I'm thinking it's a question, and y'all just keep flooding it with saying little stuff like that. If it ain't a question, then you could just keep the comment to yourself. Otherwise, I'm gonna mute y'all. But all right, so this is what I have on US 30. Like I said, there is a high probability chance, even when you look at it on higher time frames. We had this huge drop. We haven't really had a full correction yet before we get our continuation. So right now we sitting at a 38.2 retracement, but this negative 27 lines up with this 50%. So I could definitely see it pushing to that negative 27 if we get that push to that red zone. And then of course the next step will be breaking a retest to negative 27 here. Could XAU USD be at area interest number 1? Yeah, we looking really it's at like area interest. We approaching area interest number 2 right now with this trend line. So for my students, y'all know. But yeah, that's we approaching that. So we just waiting on our confirmations before we look for that. But all right, so currently what we have on GJ. GJ was a slow one last week. It definitely consolidated, but the move that we talked about played out for the most part. We just didn't quite get that pullback to that trend line, but I was mentioning that we could see some consolidation to start the week simply because it was holidays. But you can see GJ pretty much consolidated all Sunday, Monday, going into Tuesday, and then we finally after Christmas broke, retested, and then we got that push up. But this was the move that we was overall looking for. This little arrow right here, we was looking for that overall move on GJ because GJ pretty much is a pretty clean structure. We have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and then we had that brand new impulse that created a new higher high. We had this pullback that came back to retest. So it was pretty clean, pretty clear that it was going to continue up in this bullish direction. But I wanted to see price pull back to that trend line one more time before giving us that push. But of course we didn't get that pull back into that trend line, but we did get that overall continuation. So if you were taking GJ, if you were monitoring GJ, then of course this is a little break and retest, a minor level of support, break above, retest, and then we had another break and retest before we got that push up. So from where we were at on Sunday, this pushed up a solid 225 pips for anybody that trades GJ. Simple breaks and retests to take advantage of those minor structure moves. So right now, currently where we are at, we're approaching this level of resistance here. Well, currently we sitting right on it. But the next stopping point is this little minor level here. If we break above this little minor level with this high and retest, then we definitely go into this negative 27. So that's what I anticipate on GJ to start the week. Pretty smooth structure. As long as we continue to create higher highs and higher lows, I definitely see GJ going up to that negative 27 TP. So let me find me a ghost pattern real quick. Let's see what we got to the left. See, like this is one of those scenarios too, though, that you got to pay attention to, because the story here, this green zone that we currently sitting at is every time price came here, it dropped, it dropped, it dropped, it dropped. So now we currently sitting at this zone right here. There's a possibility that this can drop and even fall back into this trend line, and or break beneath these structures and retest and fall back into this zone here. So there's something that you want to be mindful of, just because where we're sitting at inside of the market, and that's just being aware of actually where you at inside of the market in relevance to structure, right? So if we get a break and retest under here, the next stop is to sell it back down to that blue zone. But of course, if you're not in this right now, I would just wait on the break and retest of this black zone, and then break and retest from there. You still can bag 132 pips up to that negative 27. So overall, if we had a ghost pattern, it would look like such. But we need to see a break and a retest to go higher. Something like this. Hold on, let me fix that real quick. Something like this, something like this. Wham. If I can get this to be the right size. But yeah, something like that. That's what we'd be overall looking for on GJ to complete that negative 27 TP structure. And then that kind of lines up with this high point up here. So everything pretty much lining up, smooth sailing on GJ. So we can get rid of that. Boom. Pretty smooth sailing. Anybody got any questions on GJ? Somebody said GJ was driving Miss Daisy for real last week. I'm screaming. GJ was so sweet. 100%. Definitely was one of the cleanest. But all right, so let's look at GU. GU, we were here last week. And then I said we could look for price to come into this blue zone and watch price there. But if we got a break and a retest, then we could look to sell it back down. This, as soon as the market opened, we got that pullback and we kind of just consolidated for the rest of the week. But now currently we just broke above this little trend line here. So I could definitely still see that this like same bias that I had. I can see that same thing happening again. But overall, hold on. Let me, before I do that though, let me look at something real quick. All right, this weekly, we kind of got this double bottom type formation. Daily, same concept. H4. We failed to make a new low here. So yeah, I can see that pushing up. As long as, hold on, let me check this fig. Okay, yeah, we hit that negative 61 point. Yeah, I can see this pushing up again into this negative 27 before falling. But if we break and retest underneath this trend line, then we selling off. So anything underneath this retest, break and retest of this trend line, then we can sell it off. But other than that, I expect price to do something like this. And the very first step is to the blue zone. That's our next level of resistance. So that's our first stopping point. So we will watch, same thing how I had it last week. Watch price at that level, because if it don't break through this level and hit that negative 27, then you could see it potentially fall off from there. So watch price at that area. When you get the chance, go back to US 30 and look at the weekly. All right, I got you, bro. Been gone for a while, doing a little ghost watching and video liking, but I'm back to see Big Dog live up in action. What up, Mike? What's good, brother? Why is the fib uptrend fib price did not break the previous structure? It was a break on the minor structure. So here, these little lower high points. That's why that fib is there. So we broke these last little lower high points there with that brand new impulse, and then we never really got the finished continuation of that. And also we had this was a negative 61.8 here, so we was already expecting for price to stop at this area and pull back deeper. So that's the reason why. But that's a good observation, because I know from the higher time frames it's hard to see. Like on the 1 hour, on this 1 hour you can't really see the breaker structure. So yeah, that's a good observation. And then once we get a breaking structure on the internal higher low, then we'll switch bias back to sales. Absolutely, 100%. And I could delete this trend line. Somebody said the boot camp was lit. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And definitely for everybody that's on the boot camp, I know we didn't have class today because we got the live trading this week for the VIP members. But going into next week for everybody that was on the that's inside the boot camp, we of course have our 2025 game plan to start the new year, and also blueprint students as well. Y'all had that 2025 game plan as well. And then also going into 2025, like I really got a lot of announcements, but sometimes I'll be forgetting. I'll be so once I get into the bag of the charts, like I'll be so focused on the charts. But we do have going into 2025 my blueprint members. For everybody that's a part of the blueprint, I have set up a schedule, and I still got to put it inside the actual community, but I have set up a schedule where we have a weekly call where we do our live trading once a week. And this is just for everybody inside the community, so y'all can take advantage of seeing all of this stuff live and understanding my thought process. Even though we do live trading, like Let's Chart Sundays is definitely considered a form of live trading because we're marking up as the market is moving. But I definitely want y'all to take advantage of understanding my thought process inside of the community pretty much from a time where I'm actually looking to place those trades. So definitely blueprint members inside the Blueprint Trading Academy, definitely be on the lookout for that, because like I said, I have set aside a time, set aside a schedule for you guys to give y'all that weekly live trading for y'all could take advantage. And if y'all see my last post on my post on my Instagram, definitely reach out if you are not a part of the current Blueprint Trading Academy. Just watch the story and do all of the directions, right? Things I frequently get in the wrong way. Absolutely no problem. What are the fees associated with the VIP and the boot camp? The boot camp was only I think it was like $150. I think that's what the price was, $150. And the VIP was, I think it was extra $50 or $70, one or two, but it wasn't much at all. The boot camps, like whenever I do boot camps and stuff like that, I always do it for a very minimal price because I want people to be able to take advantage of that low price point, because I know everybody doesn't have a lot of money to invest in themselves. So I always want to look out for the people that don't have that, especially for my people like that's in like third world countries and stuff. It's hard for them to come across money. I definitely want them to be able to take advantage, and that's even why I do these live calls every Sunday, so that people could still get that information, still learn something without spending a whole bunch. Of course, like as you grow in your journey in trading, then of course you may have to invest in yourself as you get a little bit more serious. But overall, for the average individual that doesn't really have the means, I definitely want to give back to those people. And also too, another thing, so I had a couple people reach out to me about the clothes that we talked about on the last giveaway. I just got all of the clothes together that I said I was gonna be giving away. So I pretty much got all of the shoes, all of the clothes, everything that we talked about last week. So I'll be doing that donation this week, and based off basically what I was pretty much after like really thinking about it, I'm probably just going to put them at a location and y'all can just go pick them up. So once I do that, I'll post a story about it, and then y'all can just go ahead and pick them up. And then for the remaining stuff, I'll probably just donate it to like a Salvation Army or like a ministry or something like that, where somebody in need can definitely take advantage of that. Somebody said, was the curriculum for the boot camp? The boot camp is over. The boot camp was 60 days long. We just pretty much finished up. We only got one more week, and that's just to go over like trading plans and stuff. But it covered everything. It covered pretty much psychology, covered beginning, understanding market structure, understanding Fibonacci, understanding entries, understanding candlestick anatomy. It covered the whole 9 yards. But like I said, it's over now. So you have to catch the next boot camp. Honestly, I don't even know the next time I'll do a boot camp. But before I ever do a boot camp again, it might be something different. But If you want that, then you have to wait for the next time that I do something like that. But like I said, we just finished up, so you missed out on this one, but definitely take advantage if there is a next one. I understand everything you teach in the boot camp. I was already learning from you and Jess. Thanks a lot. Absolutely. Stay focused. That's the one thing that I can't tell y'all is that repetition beats like motivation. So when y'all studying, and this like a real thing, and I see it with so many people, and it's like I gotta say this, bro. Y'all, please stop bouncing around from strategy to strategy to strategy, style to style. Like, it's like, and it's not to take away from nobody on YouTube. This not to take away from, any other creators that's doing their thing. But like, if y'all, let's just say y'all watch me, y'all study me a lot. Y'all can't go watch me and then go watch the next person on YouTube that's talking about, trading fair value gaps or trading, ICT concepts or like anything like that, because they two different completely different styles. And if you try to merge those things with the things that I teach you, then you just gonna confuse yourself like crazy. And where I feel like a lot of people go wrong is that they just don't have the not even the willpower, but like they don't know that hurts them. So like I said, repetition beats motivation, because you can go watch one of my videos and say like, oh, I learned this from his strategy, and be super motivated and go try it in the market, and then 2 weeks later you bored on YouTube again, and now you watching the next person on YouTube and they talking about ICT or fair value gaps, and then it's like you trying to take that motivation that you had from their video and go apply it in the market, and that's gonna hurt you versus just understanding one style or understanding like I said, a style of trading, and then just repeating that, because like I said, repetition beats motivation. So you got to make sure that when y'all studying, y'all, whoever y'all watch on YouTube, whoever course or whatever the case may be, y'all got to make sure that y'all wash, rinse, and repeat the concepts that y'all learn. And I'm not even telling y'all like, oh, y'all only got to watch like my videos. Like if you brand spanking new and you learn from somebody that taught ICT concepts or whatever, then if that's the strategy that you want to do, then milk that strategy and learn that strategy and repeat that strategy till it makes you become profitable. Until you become profitable. But like I said, most people think that, oh, well, I'm gonna just try this strategy, and I'm gonna try this strategy, and I promise y'all that's the worst thing y'all can do as a trader. So wash, rinse, and repeat the whatever strategy or style that you may like, that you have in trading. And the only thing like I could say, like if you have somebody that's similar, like me and my mentor, like you got me and then you got my mentor, we got two completely like similar styles. Like we look at the market from like a similar standpoint, right? Like we look at the market the same, right? So like that's okay. So like for people that say like, oh well, I learned from you and just like, that's cool, because you have two people that have the same like concepts in a sense, or the same like viewpoints inside of the market. So that's okay. So for people that's like, oh, like you don't just got to study me. Like you look at, if you watch my mentor, that's cool. Like definitely follow both of ours, because we have same, and of course, like I learned from her. So that's one of those things where it's the same style. But like I said, you can't just be jumping from somebody that teaches market structure like myself, or has fibs, to jump into ICT concepts and all of these different styles, MA crosses, and all of that stuff, where it's just gonna confuse you. Because at one moment you're gonna be looking and you like, is this a fair value gap, or is this a whatever they call it, a turtle cross, or whatever the hell they talk about. And then you be like, well, Mike said this is a breaker structure and this is a fib. Like I'm telling you, you're gonna confuse yourself. So definitely do your due diligence of wash, rinse, and repeat the strategies or the style of trading that you have. And that could be especially one of my best things of advice to give y'all, like going into 2025. Wash, rinse, and repeat the same things over and over and over again till your mind, like till it's like the back of your hand. Like y'all could see, if y'all just even pay attention to these calls, you will see the same things, the same concepts, the same like thought process day in and day out. And why, like, or a lot of people ask me, like, well, how did you see that? How do you understand it? It's because I do it day in and day out, and I'm like repeated the same strategies over and over and over and over and over again until like I don't even gotta think. Like when I look at the charts, when I'm marking up for y'all, that's why I'm even able to do these calls, because when I look at the charts, it's just watch, rinse, and repeat. Okay, very first thing I'm doing is looking at structure, see where we at inside the market. Okay, based off of the structure, the market can do one or two things. Okay, cool. This is where the market's about to head. And then if y'all watch all of the previous videos, or even if y'all just look at all of the previous like ghost patterns and analysis that we have, they play out week in and week out, week in and week out, week in and week out. Why? Because I wash, rinse, and repeat all of the same things. So definitely take that with a grain of salt and understand, like, you don't need a whole bunch of strategies to become profitable. You don't need to learn from 20 different people. You need to focus on what you're going to learn and learn from who you're going to learn from and milk that strategy day in and day out, right? So, hold on. Let me look at the comment section. You say, hell yeah, Mike, live trading with you once a week in the academy. That's big time. Appreciate that. Amazing blueprint environment. Love it. Progression is perfection. Absolutely. How do you find it doing this 60-day boot camp versus the previous boot camps you done? And do you have anything in mind for the future? It's been such a game changer, bro. Absolutely powers. I feel like this boot camp with the 60-day versus like the last one. The first boot camp I did was like a 3-day boot camp. And I feel like the differences between those were that when I was teaching the material, it wasn't just like a crunch everything in the student's mind. Where I feel like 3 days, it's like, okay, you got a lot to learn in 3 days. But when I did the 60-day boot camp, I spread out all of the information from week to week to week. That way you can focus on actually learning one thing 1 week and then learning another thing the next week versus trying to crunch it all in 1 weekend, because some people don't learn at that pace. So I feel like a lot of the students from the 60-day boot camp definitely seen a better improvement of retaining the information and also being able to understand and apply it. Because like once we got to structure and once we got to like entries and stuff, like the Telegram chat, people was dropping their trades in there. They like, this trade hit, like few people passed their funded accounts, like all inside of the group chat inside of 60-day. Even in 3-day boot camp, people were still like doing that, but I feel like it was more people inside of the 60-day boot camp that was able to retain the information. And just like how I taught, just like I was just telling y'all, repetition beats motivation. The 3-day boot camp was more of like a motivate thing. They learned it super quick and they just tried to apply it to the market, and then it may have worked for them and then it may have not if they didn't continue to apply it. But the 60 days, it's like, okay, they applied it and then they applied it, then they applied it, then they applied it all over, a 2-month span versus just, 1 weekend. So I definitely feel like it was a great turnout for everybody that attended the 6-day boot camp. I don't know when I'll be doing another one of those. Like my main focus going into 2025 is just my Blueprint Trading Academy, getting those members to the next level. And that's why I said like we focus on that live trading and just getting everybody results, right? Just making sure that anybody that's a part of my community, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Blueprint Trading Academy, like I just want to make sure everybody's getting results, because trading changed my life and I'm just doing my due diligence and returning the favor. Like even my mentor, she used to do, Sunday night calls, and I learned a lot from her. And it's just one of those things where just to give back to the community. But like I said, my main focus right now is just my Blueprint Trading Academy and getting everybody inside of their results and getting everybody in 2025 to the next level, right? So let's see. That's true. Only learn the way from you and just trade less is more. Absolutely. That's the one thing I learned this time around trading one strategy. There are areas and scenarios where you may need to tweak it, but should never change it if it works. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. So does anybody have any questions? Somebody say you need a solid 1 hour interview on a podcast. Yeah, a lot of people have been telling me that, but I mean, I'll let whenever the podcasts, present themselves and they, the right podcast with the right people, because some of these podcasts ain't really, about the right, but for the right podcast, I'll definitely will definitely, accept that invitation. Are you guys talking about say yes to Jess or another? Yeah, I'm saying no. I'm saying that I'm talking about Jess, like in the sense like it's cool to learn from her and still learn from me, or like vice versa. Like we got same, like she taught me, so like we have very similar styles, so that's okay to do that. But I'm saying don't go from like me to going to like ICT or trading fair value gaps or trading, like different creators like that, so forth and so on. But all right, does anybody have any questions about any of that? And then Eric said, "Is boot camp different than the one-on-one?" Yeah, the boot camp is different than the one-on-one. That's for the person on Zoom. Yeah, the boot camp was just like one-on-one is more personable to you than the boot camp. Of course, the boot camp got like 50 people in there. But all right, it doesn't look like it's no more questions inside. You funny as hell for running. But all right, looks like no more questions inside of the YouTube chat. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in this week. I will see you all again next week. But next week's call, it'll probably be more so tailored to getting the new year started off correctly. It's definitely one of those things where I want to talk to y'all about just setting expectations going into 2025. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Everybody, next week, make sure y'all come with y'all notebooks in hand. Make sure y'all know the things that y'all want to accomplish. Of course, next week, next Sunday, we already gonna be a few days into the new year. So don't let those dreams and aspirations disappear. Don't let them don't let those, like, just remember y'all goals and stuff when we get to our call next week. That way we can write them down, hold each other accountable, so forth and so on. What's your price for one-on-one? You can apply it's in a link in the description. So fill out the form, and then it's an interview process for the one-on-one mentorship. But like I said, it's in the description. Is anybody getting in gold? Did it give a signal yet? No, it ain't ready yet. So no, we're not getting in gold yet. Is binary options different from what you do in bad mix? In a sense, like, I mean, the styles are different. Like, there's different platforms. Options are completely like different from like trading forex or trading futures and stuff. But overall, you still read the charts the exact same way. So like a chart, like whether you trade Apple or Tesla, some stuff like that, those are completely different than, I mean, those are the same, like, charts. Marking up a chart is the same. It's just the actual platform that you trade on, so forth and so on, is different. But all right, guys, so I will see you all again next week. Like I said, make sure y'all bring y'all notebooks next week, and then everybody have a happy new year. Make sure y'all safe. Definitely make sure y'all safe on New Year's. And just set the tone for yourself. Make sure that you know what it is that you want, know what it is that you're striving for in 2025, and then let's go out and crush those goals next year. So I will see you all again next Sunday. Happy New Year's to everybody that